Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Welcome to another episode of The Road Less Traveled. We are trying something new today. We are going live on Facebook at the same time because we've had people ask to be able to see The Road Less Traveled in person. And so today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm being put in the hot seat by my executive assistant, Anne, and we're excited to have her here today. Thank you for being a part.
Thank you. It's always exciting. I love all the interaction, and it just gives me a really different perspective and view on who you are and how the company runs and just property management as a whole. So it's always fun for me.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So today I really wanted to focus on industry impact and a little bit of backstory. I don't know if you even know this about me. So when I was growing up, my grandmother, Nancy Churchill, was a very prominent real estate agent in Orange County, California. And growing up, we used to go out and clean all of her REOs on the weekends. We'd go out and we'd vacuum all the carpet and clean all of the windows and do all of these things. And as I've grown up and I've been in the industry for close to 10 years now, a little over 10 years, not much has really changed, right? It's still houses, we still have residents, we still need to collect rent. So the fundamentals haven't changed, but the way that we operate and process systems has changed. So I really want to talk. So that is my experience from years ago. We're not going to say how many years.
We're not going to age ourselves.
We're not going to age ourselves. That's not the point of this one today. But I really want to talk about really leading into my first question, like what is currently broken in property management that no one really wants to talk about?
I actually love this question because in property management, I've been in it for years, kind of brought up in it, but the biggest thing I see that is broken is that when property management companies ask for a client to onboard or a resident to onboard, a lot of times it's a painful process. It's not customer obsession. It's more of, hey, give me the information, have them do everything, and then bring it over. And so I think the biggest thing that is broken, and I'm going to go back to Amazon. Amazon, why do we use Amazon? Literally, it's a swipe of a button, it takes our credit card, and it's easy. And we keep going, right?
One click.
And so in property management, the thing that is broken is not being customer obsessed, not being client obsessed, not figuring out how to make it so incredibly easy for them and to understand what that asset is to them. And so that's what we are changing at Rosenbaum Realty Group, is to become that so customer obsessed that there's no reason for them to ever leave.
I love that. Yeah. So what portion of the industry is currently broken?
Well,
as far as like systems are concerned, I guess is my question.
Oh, well, I think right now there's a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of systems broken, but right now it's this evolution, really, what's going on, because you have this AI.
It's a better word. I like that better than broken.
Yeah, so it's an evolution because you have this AI coming in, and you have some property management companies that are, how do I implement, but am I going to get sued? Because you have all these laws behind the scenes that you have to make sure even AI abides by. And so you have this evolution of some property management companies figuring out how to put in AI and some not, and trying to play this game of how do we implement it and how do we make sure we stay compliant. And so right now, I think you have to be cautious because AI is great and it is a phenomenal tool, but you can also see the stories of people getting sued right now because AI is like a team member when you put it in your company. So if they don't abide by fair housing or if they don't abide by rental regulations or anything, then guess what? You just put something in your company that can get you sued and hurt someone. And so this evolution that is happening right now is really exciting. We actually have developers on staff now. And 1099s, we're bringing some on staff that will be full-time. But by developing I want to shift a little bit. By developing, we'll be able to actually streamline things to a whole nother level. We're looking at trying to figure out how to manage double the doors that we're managing with our team right now. The biggest shift with this that is going to happen is going back to evolving, developing new systems, developing customer-obsessed systems. Because I think when you have AI, this is what's broken. People go, hey, AI can replace people. And I don't think what people need to look at is AI is a tool and it's a companion. And by having AI, your team can manage and have the relationships to the people so much more than just the AI. So I would say that is a system right now that people are evolving, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it, and not just have things broken. Because what's broken that I see in this industry as well is people are building out their own tools, but they don't have the staff to fix it when it breaks.
Yep, that's entirely true.
And so all of a sudden people look at, and I'm going on a tangent here, but it's a huge broken system. People go to conferences like, hey, I want that shiny object and that new software. And they pick and they choose and they're like, hey, it's going to fix my problem. Well, guess what? AI is the exact same thing if you don't spend time with it and if you don't develop it and you
It's
don't
like a
make...
bad employee.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I could... But you actually said something really true. In the industry of property management, there's a lot of things broken, but people go, hey, team member on staff here, boots on the ground. And then they go, hey, remote team members came into play.
Yep.
Now I'm going to hire overseas. But then so many people struggle with it because their systems were not trained. They did not have training systems well enough, even here on boots on the ground, that they tried to do it overseas and it doesn't work. If you're going to train someone boots on the ground, great. You better have your systems in place. Then, if you're going to train someone overseas, you better have your systems even better. Now, the same thing goes with AI, because you have to train it. You have to develop it. So the same thing, if you want to actually go from remote team members to AI, you better be able to train, and your systems better be so dialed in so you don't get in trouble in the process.
Well, and I don't necessarily want to turn this into an AI conversation, but I mean, we've had our own stuff that we're working on here internally, and I'm not sure how much we can say before it's
really
all
excited
out.
about it.
Yeah, I know. But you're absolutely right. It's like if you don't spend enough time with the AI, it's like having a bad employee. And what do you do with bad employees? Right? You need to train them and help them to develop so that they're better employees. But AI is also just a tool, right? And we need to remember that it can't replace a lot of the human interaction and connection that we have with our residents, with the owners. You know, it's really there as a tool.
It's a tool.
Right?
I like
And
how
we
you
just
say
need
that.
to remember that it's a tool.
It's a tool, and it can help us, but it can also go rogue.
Yeah.
So that's what people
yeah.
don't realize. They're like, hey, it's just, you put it in place and it just works.
Yeah.
No, it's the same thing. If you're going to train an employee, a team member, you've got to be able to train and actually develop and have HR for the AI as well. And make sure you're having your systems in place so you don't get sued or it doesn't go rogue and you don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So kind of leading into my next question. So I have the pleasure of booking all of your speaking events and all of your conferences that you go to and speak at, which you do a lot, by the way. And in spending a lot of times at these conferences, what do you believe the industry is going to look like in 10 years from now? Especially when it comes to, and again, don't necessarily want to turn it into an AI conversation, but how do you think that AI is going to manifest and change the industry over the next 10 years?
Oh, I think our industry will do a 180 in 10 years. I have the pleasure of not only going to speak, but also being on podcasts with incredible people, like industry leaders as well, like people that are just changing the game. And I'm going to do something that's very unpopular because I agreed when I was on a podcast with Matt Whitaker. He came on and I asked him a question. I'm like, I never get the same answer that I think on this. And he said it and I'm like, oh my goodness, we align on this. Because what I think is going to happen, and I don't think it's going to take 5 years. I think you're going to see, because I think it's already happening. I've seen some people start playing with it. I think you're going to see, because of AI and because of the industry tools that we're going to see come about, I don't think you're going to see management fees are going to completely decrease on so many levels. You're going to see them get real close to zero, I think.
Okay.
And I got to be careful what I say for just so we don't go in and price match and all that. But I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see some major craziness on tech because there are people that are building out right now, and you're going to see a lot more of companies going in and building out their own custom tech. Because you can do it. Now, saying that, I also want to just put a little disclaimer. If you're going to build out your tech, you better be able to make sure you can fix it when it breaks. Right. And you got to make sure you can stay compliant with things. But I think you're going to see tech come full force. I think you're going to see management fees come down. I think you're going to see owners really wanting relationships. You're already seeing this start playing out where owners went from, hey, they can wait a day. It's like less than 4 hours. When they email, when they call, they want a response right then and there. Yeah. This is where, and the Amazons of the world have changed the game, even for us. It's coming in AI, where we've been trained. If I want something, I don't even go to the store anymore. I get on Amazon. I'm like, can I get it today? I even pay, listen to this, I even pay that $2.99 fee to get it in 2 to 3 hours because I want it now. And I'm like, why did I just pay $2.99 for that? Yeah. But because they're doing something to change the game. Yeah. And I think you're going to see that in property management. I think it's going to be a completely different industry, probably 5 years.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that a lot of the change is going to be led by the owners because they're going to be the bottleneck.
Oh,
right? Residents
1,000%.
are always going to need a place to live. They're always going to need to rent until they can afford to buy. Mm-hmm. So you're always going to have residents. The owners, on the other hand, right, they might just start giving up if they can't get the things that they need. And I think that this push toward a lot of the electronics and just doing the AI in general, and everybody's like, oh, it's more efficient, it's more effective, right? But relationships are what are going to be the defining factor, I think, in many years. And I think you kind of touched on that.
Mm-hmm. I think what you're also going to see, you're going to see property management in a lot of ways become a loss leader. And you're going to see these, and other bigger companies are already doing this. 100%. And they have ancillary businesses that became the feed of everything and making the money. Mm-hmm. And you see this in commercial real estate where they do leasing or they do the property management as the loss leader and they do the leasing as the revenue. And so what you're going to see property management come down on price, and then you're going to see all these little bitty businesses, which if you look at any other of the big companies that have thousands and thousands, they're already doing it. Mm-hmm. They're already doing it. Their management fee hasn't come down yet, but you're going to see it. Yep. And once those management fee comes down, because the number one fee owners, exterior owners, actually look at is the management fee. They look at everything else secondary. And so I think that's going to be a big change that happens as well. And we're already working on that as well. The secondary businesses to make sure that those are the ones that have the major revenue. And I think that's important. And as we shift into this new era, and it's already coming about, like the things that are changing overnight rapidly, I think if you want to stay in business, you're going to have to change. Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes you get in, and I talk to a lot of property management companies and owners, a lot of times they get stuck in their ways. Like back then it was like, oh, I got to have my paper. I'm like, dude, there's no reason to have paper. Get the paper off the desk. You've got all these drives. Just get it online. And I think people that get stuck in their ways, they're going to see they're not going to be able to stay in business.
No, I completely agree. Kind of going off of that point, what part of property management do you think should never be automated?
I'm going to have a very unpopular opinion here. I think analyzing the deal for the owner. I think you can automate it to a certain point, and you can do numbers automated, but the numbers in the property tells a story. So this is where property management takes a whole new shift. Like when we bring on a property, I want to know what that property can do for that owner. Because our vision is we want to help 5,000 owners create lasting legacies and generational wealth through expert asset management. And you can take numbers and you can still get a crappy property. And you can take a property and see it in a great area and still get a crappy property. But if you take the numbers and you take the property and you bring the story together to have a story behind that property and make sure you really know what it can do, then you can add value to an owner in a whole different way. Mm-hmm. So the story behind it, I don't think will ever be able to be automated.
I agree with that.
And even the numbers, double check them. Because 9 times out of 10 right now, they're not right.
Well, I think that it's the relationship aspect as well. Mm-hmm. Is not something that can ever be automated.
No.
Because we've all been in this situation. If you've ever invested in property, I know that I've been there. I'm very certain that you've been there, where you just need somebody to listen. And you're like, I had this terrible thing happen. The house burned down. There was a flood. And that is a very emotional experience for many, many owners. And sometimes they don't want the cold, calculated, oh, I'm sorry that happened from the AI, right? There's no emotion behind it. And I think that the AI there's never going to be a way that AI is going to be able to have compassion.
Oh.
And it's something that you can feel energetically. Yeah. You can feel when someone is commiserating with you.
Oh, 100%.
So
I think
the relationship is important.
100%. I think you spoke on something really important. Like, my background's psychology.
Yeah.
I love psychology. And you see more depression. You see more suicide. You see all these things. And what I'm saying by that is, we are going into this age that's very tech-driven and very AI-driven. And very, phones at our faces, right? Yeah. It's all right there. The problem is us humans really need that relationship, very much need that connection. Mm-hmm. As we lose that, we're just going to see more of the depression and the suicide and all these other things. But that's where you see in property management, I'm bringing it back to property management, these owners are going to want that relationship so much more. They will stay for the relationship. Now, the answers, like on a number or whatever, hey, they can get that at a click of a button. Tech's going to change that. But that relationship, that phone call that says, hey, how's your daughter? How does that dance? Like, we have an owner right now that will call up. They know they have the best relationship. And he'll call them and they'll talk family. They'll talk wife. They'll talk, daughter. Hey, how's your daughter? She just graduated college. And they will get really personal. That relationship, I can tell you right now, we've made mistakes with that owner. But I tell you, that relationship is why he's still there. Because he knows he can pick up the phone any day, call Daniel, and talk to him. Yep. And discuss any problem in his own personal life. I think that's what's going to change even so much greater. And some are doing that. I'm not saying people aren't, but that relationship, that connection is going to be so much more important as AI gets more and more.
I think that's going to eventually become the differentiator. So we always talk about, what's your differentiator, right? Yeah. How are you different than any other property management company out there? We build relationships.
It's true.
And that is really going to be the defining factor of whether somebody goes with cold and calculated versus somebody that actually understands because they've been there. And they can actually give me solid advice, and they can say, hey, based on everything that I know about you, here's how we can help you collectively to grow your wealth, everything that you've talked about. And I think that that's going to be the distinction there. That's
one of the biggest reasons why we started to do this new thing for our clients, where we put our money where our mouth is because right now, you don't know what's false and true a lot of times. Yeah. It's like, you go want to buy a property and it's like, do I go or do I not go? Or, even with investors right now, they're starting to question, like, hey, who do I trust? What's real out there? What's not real? And so that's why we decided for our clients alone, like, they can have access to 5 properties in our own portfolio. Because we continue to acquire, we want them to know that when we say something, that it's 100% truth. And as we bring on new clients, sometimes they haven't worked with us very long. And so this is a way to go, they're going to give us access to their own portfolio who else does that, right? Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons why we did that.
Yeah, and again, it just all goes back to relationships. It's just so fascinating.
It is.
So my next question for you is, why do some companies scale while others others stay stuck?
Oh, this is a passion. I think property management companies get stuck 9 times out of 10 because you have an owner that I'm going to say it because I think all owners have this, because they're a little prideful. They think they know everything best. And where they really struggle is at the 250, but then the 500 mark. And it's because they're not willing to let go of the day-to-day. Because above 500, you got to start letting go. You got to start letting team members answer questions. You got to let them start making solutions, and make sure your processes are documented. Otherwise, you get problems. And so often, they're not willing to do that. Second, they're not willing to reinvest, because they're like, if I have to hire someone that's a little bit level up and I got to pay more money, property management companies 9 times out of 10 look at that as I'm losing money instead of investing in my company to get a better outcome.
Correct.
And so those are the 2 things that I see most often of why people don't grow. They won't let go, and then they won't hire the right team members.
Mm-hmm. And then it goes back to a fear of loss.
Oh, yes.
And so the fear of loss is, well, if I hire this employee, I lose money versus looking at it as an investment.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And what people have to shift. And I was actually at a conference, I was speaking, and this was the best thing I could have done. I was sitting there and I said, hey, we were talking about employees and this exact same thing. And I said, why don't you hire this employee? He's like, because it costs money. This is why we don't. And I said, okay, so we're all in real estate in here, right? All right, you have a fourplex. You have an AC that goes down. What do? I repair it. Okay, so you get it working, right? Well, what if they say you got to replace it? Well, you replace it. Well, why did you replace it? Because you invest in the property, get a better return.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was perfect scenario. And I'm like, and in real estate, we can understand it.
Yep.
But because we understand real estate, it's easier to do. And we can go to the owner of the property and say, hey, you spend money on it so you can get a better return. So often when we look at team members, it's like it's money out the door instead of money in the door.
Yes.
It's harder. And so it's recalibrating that mindset and going, hey, no, this is an investment to get a better return and impact more lives.
Yeah. And kind of to that point, the way that I kind of look at that is, in your example, the individual that you asked about the AC, well, he wasn't going out and fixing it himself. The question is why? Mm-hmm. Well, because I'm not an HVAC tech. Mm-hmm. I don't have the knowledge set and the skill set. And so when we don't have the knowledge set and the skill set to do something, it's really easy to hire somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. But going back to your point of ego, if I know everything, right, and now I have to pay somebody to do things that I already know how to do, now it's loss.
Oh, 100%.
And so I think that's the distinction is, it's really easy to hire people when I don't know how to do something. I don't know how to build AI, so I'll hire somebody. But I do know how to manage property, so I'm just going to do it and forego my time, right? Because I'll save money.
Oh, 100%. And I think the biggest thing where people struggle, this is the most interesting thing to me, where I will talk to an owner of a property management company. I'm like, hey, who's doing your accounting? I am. No, I don't. But that's what they tell me. Yeah. And I said, did you go to school for accounting? No, but it's just you put numbers in a QuickBooks and you just look at everyone's phone.
It's easy, right?
Like first thing, make sure those books are clean. Make sure you know your numbers. How often do you look over the P&L? And they're like, I'm like, when's the last time you looked at it? 6 months ago? Look at your P&L. Make sure you know your numbers. And so often we look at this, it's just an easy job. I can do it myself instead of, hey, let me get the right person that understands it and understands the number behind it. Because if you hire a really good accountant person, then all of a sudden they can help you make decisions of where to put the money, understand where to invest the money. Hey, how much money do you have to actually hire this person? There's so many things that they start, guess what, advising you. And that's what people have to change. You hire advisors. Mm-hmm. You help manage, you help empower them, but they should be advising you on the position because they should know it better than you.
Yep, I completely agree. And I think that is something that, as we're talking today about like industry impact, that's something that I'm sure a ton of smaller property management companies just aren't currently doing.
I didn't do it, to be honest. I think, 100%.
Until you got a little bit larger and again, you hired the right advisors. And they advised you like, Tiffany, you're not an accountant. You're not a CPA. I hate to break it to you, but hire this guy.
Oh, no, it's true. I remember getting up at 2 a.m. doing the books when we first started. And that was actually one of the later things that I got off my plate because it just books. But then when we got it off the plate, I was advised by someone that had been in real estate like 60 years ago or something, how to do them. Yeah. And then I realized, we were doing them wrong. And so I hired someone, but it took me so long to realize that is one of the most important things in a business. Yeah. If you don't know your numbers and you don't have very, very, very clean books, then you're doing it wrong. And what's interesting about this, I went to a conference and I asked, how many of y'all have billed an owner wrong? And I've done it. I'll raise my hand. I have. But that was back then. And so many people go, well, I have. And I'm like, who's doing your books? They're like, well, me. And I'm like, first thing, get off your plate. Hire someone to do your books that cares and will do them right. Because then you can actually grow. Like you asked me what's one of the biggest things. That's another big thing. Like you can't grow if you're not getting these strategic partners that understand the position better than you.
Well, it's also freeing up your own time, right? So how can you work on the business when you're actively working in the business? So once you can take, have a CPA come and work on your books, that saves you the 5 hours, 10 hours, 30 hours a week that you were doing on your own. Now that frees up your 30 hours to go and build the business.
100%.
Right? And I think that's definitely something that is a struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the early days. So,
100%.
Right. Okay. So, what is the biggest misconception investors have about property management?
I only laugh, and it depends on the investor. It really does, because some investors. I was on a call with one of my BDRs with some, and they wanted help on a call. So I get on the call with my BDR's business development reps. And this lady on the other end, and I was listening, she goes, oh, it's just collecting rent. And I'm like, I didn't say it like this, but what I wanted to say is, we're in the wrong room. Because if you think that's what it is, I am never going to be able to add value here. But it's so much more. First of all, there's so many laws that change in property management that you need to stay up to date and have a lawyer that can stay up to date. But on the next thing, I had an owner ask me, what makes a successful relationship? I love that question because I have an owner that we mimic all of our owners after, because he is my ideal client. He trusts us. He'll call us. He'll be like, hey, what do you recommend? And so anytime we send him any information, he's like, and we tell him what we recommend, he's like, just run with it. Just run with it. Because at the end of the day, he has hired us to be the experts. And this is what we're really passionate about. Like, I love real estate. And so that client, a bid, a rent price, anything, he's like, if you recommend it, just run with it. Because he knows we're in it. And so I think when you're dealing with clients that don't understand that, it's so much harder. And so I laugh because there are some people that think it's just rent. And I'm like, there's so much more than just rent. I wish it was just rent. My life would be easy.
Yeah, life would be easy.
You
go knock on a door, collect some rent, and then, you skip off for the rest of the day.
I was talking to someone.
Course.
Oh, it is. Yeah, seriously, let's go play golf 50 hours a week. No, but I was talking to someone. I said, I think property management might be the hardest job in the world. Why? Because you have residents, you have clients, you have laws, you have trust accounting, and then you have your team and you're the owner. So you have so many different intricate parts that come in, and you have to make sure they all service each other, And it's this balancing act with laws and making sure things are together. And so we were laughing because we were like, there's so many different things. It's not just, hey, retail where there's shipping and a little bit less of clients but I think it's funny how property management can be. You're dealing with a lot of upset people sometimes. You got to make sure that you have it all under wraps. You're dealing with people's money, and let's be honest, what's the number one thing people get frustrated about? It's their money. And that's why I tell every client, you better know where every penny is. And if you have a question about a penny, you call me directly, or your rep. But you need to know where every penny is.
Yeah, and I think the common misconception is that they're just there to collect rent, and they're not doing very much, but look how much I'm paying. And it's okay, well, there's a lot more to it, right? So I know, just being able to see all the behind the scenes like conversations that you're having with industry leaders, and going to conferences, and you spend a tremendous amount of time talking with experts. We had Deanie's Holiday on your last investor forum, just going in, and she just ran that room, and it was incredible to just sit in and listen in, because
I love her.
Just such a wealth of knowledge. And I think that she is she reviews laws from the Supreme Court and
she does
things. Yeah,
she's been a judge. She's just phenomenal.
She's incredible. And she spent 35 or 40 minutes just going through 3 different law changes, and just in Arizona. We're not even talking
just
about
3
on a national scale. We're talking about 3 laws in Arizona that recently came up in the last couple of months that are being implemented. And I mean, she is just such a wealth of knowledge, but the amount of time that you spent with her and, with the accountants and the CPAs and, the AI leaders and, all the things that you're building, there's a lot more to it than people have. And having been an investor for the last 10 years, I will happily say that I had all of those same misconceptions. I'm like, I'm not going to pay a property manager. I can totally manage the tens of doors that I have, right? And oh gosh, it was just an incredible weight lifted off of me as an investor, not having to do my own management anymore. So it was really nice.
It's true. Like, who's gonna call? Who's taking the call at midnight? Even if it's just one or two, depending on how many properties you have. Who's gonna take that? Who's gonna make sure the laws that are kept up with, that you know them? Who's gonna make sure your resident's happy and renews? Who's gonna make sure when they're late, there's a notice that goes out? Who's gonna lease the property, advertise the property, make sure that you're getting market rent for the property? Like, there's so many intricate parts with property management. And what I like to look at is there's two things in life that people want the cheapest for. I mean, just cheapest. They will negotiate bottom dollar if possible. It's two. And they're the two biggest assets in your life. One is childcare. How cheap can you babysit my child? And the second one is, how cheap can you do property management?
Yep.
And the problem is with that mindset is you're trying to get the cheapest and you're not getting the best value. Because when you hire a property manager or when you hire a babysitter,
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. And you should be asking, what are you going to give me in return? Why am I paying this to you? Because in property management, you should be going, how are you going to bring me a better NOI? I'm going to hire you, but that doesn't mean I make less money. That means I better get more market rent. I better add something here so the resident stays longer. Because right now, I would say the best way to make a better return is make sure that resident stays years on end. And same thing with a babysitter. Do you want a babysitter that watches TV all night? Do you want a babysitter that...
teaching your child Spanish.
Yeah, teaching how to read, coloring, activities outside. What do you want? Because you can have both in property management and babysitting.
Yep.
Do you want a property manager that just is like, hey, I'm gonna collect rent, and then if you get sued, I don't care, and it happens. Or do you want someone that says, hey, this is your property, this is what you are going to add here, this is how many years it should be occupied. Hey, right now there's discussions that are having, hey, you're negative $500 a month. I just brought someone on this. We sat down and we talked to him and said, you can rent it for this. This is what you're going to do. You're going to be negative for $500. We're going to wait for the market to come up. We're going to actually sell this one, put it into 2 properties. This is what we're going to do. Or you can sell it right now and you're going to be losing money. You're going to lose $30,000. We already went through the numbers. He's like, I've never had someone sit down with me and talk to me like this. I said, because there's a difference.
Yep.
And so I just think you have to decide what you truly want. Because you can get either, but do you want to make, what's the asset for, right?
Yeah. Well, it just touches on what we talked about previously, which is that's not something that AI can do. You can't have it sit there and have a conversation and say, hey, what's best for my portfolio? Right? What's best for my children, my grandchildren? Nope. You can't have those conversations with AI because they don't fully understand. They're just looking at it as pure numbers.
You say a good point there, because I had an AI letter come into me. And it was the funniest thing because it quoted laws. And I'm like, and I know the law like the back of my hand. But even then, I'm like, I'm going to question it. Maybe there's a new law that I don't know about. I got this email and I said, that's fake. So I emailed my lawyer and I'm like, am I way off base? Is this fake or is there something new going on? She goes, that's so fake. It's so ChatGPT. I said, okay. But it's true. Like, you have to prompt AI. Yeah. And even with just prompting AI, you have to prompt it and make sure your prompt is good. So AI is only as good as your prompt. You have to have that human. So the knowledge base behind our investing and understanding investments allows us to have those conversations that AI can't have yet.
No, I agree. And that kind of leads me into one of my last questions, which is what separates a good property management company from a truly exceptional one?
Ooh. You can hire a bunch of good property management companies, and they will go after rent, and they might evict a resident. An exceptional property management company understands what that asset is and is analyzing that asset and going, okay, and asking that, or do you want to build your portfolio? Do you want to stay here? What's your financial goals? Because then you're becoming a financial advisor on this asset. Yep. And how long should this resident stay? What's the CapEx on the AC? When do you need to replace that? What's going on with the roof? there's so much more behind property management than just property management.
Yeah.
And the exceptional ones understand that at the end of the day, it's the bottom line of that property, that asset that is given back to that family that makes the entire difference.
I completely agree. It goes back to the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the people out there are just going to do the bare minimum, right? Which is, I'm going to go out and collect rent. If somebody stops paying rent, I'll evict them. Cool.
Yep.
That's my job, right? The truly exceptional, in my opinion, is a lot of the things that you're already doing within Rosenbaum, which is helping them to grow their portfolio. It's not just about this one asset. It's like, great, what is in the grand scheme of things, right? So is it just this one property, or are you looking to, build wealth? Are you looking to retire? But it's having those deeper conversations that you're already having, which is, look, the reason that you guys that we've started doing the property opportunities for your current clients is because many of them come to you and say, hey, like, I don't want just the 5 that I have. I don't want just the one. I want to grow this as a wealth building so that I can get to retirement faster, or I can leave something for my children. And you guys are going above and beyond by going out and saying, hey, we're going to continue to acquire properties, and we're going to go ahead and make these available to our investors because you care. It's not just, you guys are happy to, I've seen the properties that you guys have on as the opportunities. They're great properties.
There.
And you guys are like, hey, we're happy to keep them, but it's not just about us. We want to grow together with our investors. And that to me is the distinction that you guys are creating as being a truly exceptional property management company.
Well, I appreciate that, because that's what it's all about. How many people we can impact? And I really do think through business we can impact a lot.
Yeah.
And I love to have that conversation with someone that's just getting into one, and we're helping them build a 10 to 20 to 30. I'm like, oh, you're doing it. Yep. And the reason why this exists is because I remember in 2010 when we were on food storage and literally had no money, and it was no heat in our home. It was a struggle. And I had the opportunity to get into real estate. I remember going with my husband in the living room crying, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. We couldn't go worse. We were already pretty down, struggling. But at the same time, when you don't know what's on the other side, it's scary. To buy a property and not know how to manage it, not know how to do these things, not know am I going to get into a financial restraint here? Mm-hmm. What happens if I can't rent it? You go through these what ifs, and let's be honest, they 9 times out of 10 never happen. But that's why we decided to do this, because we want to help people be able to get into real estate easier. We want them to not have to go through what we went through to get in. Yep. We want them to understand that we will help you build your portfolio, whether you're starting with 1 or whether you're starting with 50. Like, we have clients that have 50, 75, and we want to help people build their portfolios.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, and I know that it's conversations that you and I have had, which is, I want to continue to build my portfolio, and, what are the things that I can learn from you to be able to do that. And I appreciate all of it. So
our conversations are so good. Like, we're in our office and we're working, we both turn and go, oh, we got to talk about this. Yeah. But it's, when you're passionate about real estate, and I think that's why we work so well together, is because we're both passionate about real estate.
Or we're passionate about people.
That
right?
too.
And it's, I think that it's just always a misconception of people in real estate, which is like, oh, we're just after the money. And it's like, yeah, sure, to an extent. Yeah, I want to live a nice life. I don't want to be living under a bridge.
Yeah.
Right? But it really just comes down to relationships and people. And there's only so much money that you can make and you can spend in your life. And a lot of it, once you get to that certain point and you're like, oh, like I'm good. It's like, great, now what? Oh. Right? And then there's always the after, which is the now what, which is you give back. Right?
It's about the impact.
It's about helping others to from the lessons that we've created, which is why a lot of people end up going into like mentoring and leadership and helping others, because they're like, man, I don't want to see you struggle the way that I struggled.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what it's everything that you're doing with all of your existing clients. So that's what I see. So, all right, my last question for you is, what responsibility do industry leaders have to help elevate the profession of property management?
It's a really good question, because I love property management. I love it. I'm passionate about it. But I think a lot of people are struggling in it. and thinking that it's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people that are coming in the industry, they need to become part of NARPM or events, or to understand the implications you can have on other people. Because you're really messing with people's money. This asset is not just a property. It's their money. It's like I was talking to our team. It's emotional.
Highly emotional.
And so, like, you get a fourplex. You're talking about $1 million a lot of times. 750, 500,000. So what you need the team that you have, you need to train them, and you need to look at it as they're handing me $500,000 that should appreciate but also give money back. And so I look at that. I think that's a break a little bit right now that people need to understand, and industry leaders need to help get these people to be able to manage better, understand that it's assets, and that it's so much more than just a property. Because you're talking about a renter that is paying rent, so it's their money. Mm-hmm. You're talking about an owner that they're handing you $500, $20 million, $100 million easily sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so you're dealing with their money. You're dealing with financial. And when you're dealing with financial, you need to elevate to a whole new level and make sure your accounting, I'm going to come back to accounting because no one talks about it enough. Your accounting is fantastic and clean and great. And so I think that's the number one thing. But people need to talk about it more, and understand it more, and mentor more, and be open to share more. Because like George Clooney said it best, we learn from our mistakes or others' mistakes more so than our wins. So talk about our mistakes so someone else doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. Because, don't do it how I did it. Learn faster than I did.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what we always go back to is like, man, I really want to help the next generation of property managers learn faster than I did.
Yeah. 100%.
Because if I can save them a lot of the heartache and the agony and the blood, sweat, and tears that I had to go through, and, pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, if I can prevent all of that and help them to get to the place where I am now, that makes all the difference.
100%.
Right.
Well, we appreciate y'all listening today. Trying something new out. If you like it, let us know. But thank you, Ann, for interviewing me, putting me on the spot. And thank you for coming to Road Less Travel. Until next time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you, or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.